Over the course of 53 years practicing medicine, I witnessed the deaths of 4,000 patients. I was there to sign their death certificates, hold their hands during their last moments, and deliver the heartbreaking news to their families. What I'm about to share with you is a truth that connected most of these individuals. The vast majority of them didn't have to die at the time they did. Their early deaths weren't inevitable results of genetic factors or mere misfortune. They died because of the choices they made. These were patterns I first noticed back in 1972. These were behaviors I consistently warned my patients about throughout my decades of practice. Unfortunately, most of them chose not to heed my warnings. Now, tragically, most of them are no longer with us. I've reached the age of 102. I'm telling you this because it's crucial that you grasp the significance of my experience. I've spent more time alongside dying people than nearly anyone currently living on this planet. Through this extensive experience, I've come to understand precisely what distinguishes those who survived into their 90s from those who died suddenly at 68. The troubling reality is that you're likely engaging in at least two of these life-shortening behaviors right now, perhaps even this very morning, completely unaware that they're gradually stealing years from your lifespan. The first critical lesson I learned during my 53 years in medicine is that prolonged sitting will end your life more quickly than almost any other daily activity you perform. This isn't hyperbole or exaggeration. I observed this deadly pattern unfold repeatedly, patient after patient, over many years. Beginning in 1981, I started maintaining separate records comparing my patients whose occupations required sitting versus those whose work involved movement. I tracked accountants, secretaries, and executives. What I discovered was striking. They aged in fundamentally different ways. Their blood test results showed distinct differences. Their hearts failed at younger ages. By 1990, I had accumulated enough evidence to conclude definitively that individuals who sat for 8 or 9 hours each day were experiencing internal aging at a rate approximately 40% faster than those who maintained movement throughout their day. Eventually, the medical research community reached similar conclusions, but I had already witnessed this truth firsthand through the deteriorating bodies of my patients. Let me explain the mechanism of what actually occurs. When you sit, your blood circulation immediately begins to slow down. Blood starts pooling in your lower extremities. Your lymphatic system, which fundamentally relies on physical movement to operate properly, becomes stagnant. Harmful toxins begin to build up in your tissues. Your muscles start the process of atrophy within just days of decreased activity. Once you pass the age of 60, this destructive process accelerates significantly because your body has lost the natural resilience it possessed at 40. I remember one particular patient, a retired judge, who maintained a religious commitment to exercising every single morning for 45 minutes. He believed this routine made him invulnerable to health problems, but after completing his morning exercise, he would spend 10 or 11 hours sitting while reading or watching television. He died at 71 from a stroke. His dedicated morning exercise routine proved completely inadequate to protect him from the damage caused by his prolonged afternoon and evening immobility. Fortunately, the solution isn't complex or difficult to implement. You need to move every single hour. Stand up from wherever you're sitting. Walk to a different room. Engage in any activity that requires you to use your legs. I've personally practiced this behavior since 1974. I use a timer to remind myself. Every 50 minutes, I make sure to get up and move. I'm 102 years old now, and I continue this practice without fail. The second destructive pattern I identified involved sleep. This isn't simply about getting a sufficient quantity of sleep, but rather about obtaining the proper quality of rest. I can't count how many patients proudly informed me that they only required 5 or 6 hours of sleep each night. They presented this information as though it demonstrated personal strength or superior efficiency. I understand this might sound like an emotional or subjective concern rather than a medical one. It's absolutely not. Loneliness activates a chronic stress response throughout your entire body. Your cortisol levels remain persistently elevated. Your immune system function becomes compromised and decreases. Your markers for inflammation throughout your body increase significantly. I treated patients who were otherwise in good health but lived alone without any meaningful social connections or relationships. These isolated individuals deteriorated much more rapidly than patients who suffered from serious chronic medical conditions but maintained strong social bonds and networks. The scientific data supporting this observation is now overwhelming and undeniable. But I witnessed this pattern clinically playing out for decades before the research caught up. The fifth life-shortening factor is chronic worry and anxiety. This one is particularly insidious because it doesn't present itself as an obvious health problem. Instead, it appears to be simply a personality characteristic or temperament. However, maintaining constant low-level anxiety keeps your stress hormones elevated in a manner that systematically damages every system throughout your body. I treated patients who had retired from their careers, lived in financial comfort, and were surrounded by loving family members, yet they still dedicated hours every single day to worrying about circumstances completely beyond their control. Their bodies aged at an accelerated rate. Their sleep quality was significantly worse. Their immune systems became compromised and weakened. Developing the ability to release your concern about things you cannot control isn't merely beneficial psychology. It's actually a matter of survival. I want to share something personal with you about my wife. She passed away 8 years ago. We had been married for 61 years. She did not follow any of the advice I've been describing. She sat constantly because she experienced chronic knee pain. She slept poorly throughout her later years and refused to take steps to address the problem. She ate according to the way her mother had taught her, consuming bread and sweets and exclusively low-fat products. She spent every single day worrying about our children and grandchildren. She died at the age of 94. You might initially think that 94 represents a good, long life, but I personally witnessed her gradual decline over the 15 years that preceded her death. I watched her progressively lose her physical mobility, her mental sharpness, and her personal independence. Those final years of her life were not a gift or a blessing. They represented a slow, steady diminishment of the person she had been. She could have enjoyed another full decade of genuine, vibrant life. She made the choice not to change her habits. I am now 102 years old. I live by myself. I prepare my own meals. I walk every single day. I read regularly. I make phone calls to my grandchildren. I sleep for 7.5 hours every night without fail. I'm not a special person with unique advantages. I haven't been blessed with exceptional luck. I simply made deliberate choices. You are making choices right now, at this very moment, during this hour of your day. And I'm telling you, drawing from 53 years of experience watching people die, that these choices carry more significance than you want to acknowledge or believe. You don't need to transform everything about your life simultaneously. Choose just one thing. Address either the excessive sitting or the inadequate sleep or the social isolation or the poor diet or the chronic worry. Fix one of these problems, and you'll find that addressing the others becomes progressively easier. I have experienced the tragedy of burying 2 of my 3 children. I have buried my wife. I have buried 4,000 patients over my career. Yet I am still here, still alive. And I am telling you with absolute certainty that the majority of the people I've buried throughout my life did not have to die at the time they did. You are still here as well, still alive with time remaining. The critical question now is, what are you going to do about it?